I was at my local grocery, large chain franchise, picking up some vegan beef patties for a barbecue I was throwing for the neighborhood. I really didn't know much about these products, but I wanted there to be options since I wasn't sure who would be attending. I had an open invitation posted in the neighborhood chat. I decided to just pick up 3 or 4 different brands of burger patties to be on the safe side. A blonde woman with shortish hair was walking past and noticed what I had in my cart. It would seem she took umbrage with my choices. "You should just eat meat if you're going to buy things that taste like meat," she said to me with scorn in her voice. "I do eat meat, I just want those who don't to feel welcome at my barbecue," I responded with as much sincerity as I could muster. What Karen and I had failed to notice in our conversation was the pack of service dogs gathering at both ends of the freezer aisle. We became aware very quickly though when they started closing in, growling menacingly. Immediately the Karen started shrieking for a manager. The officially invested pack was not impressed. In fact, I think her shrill voice only enraged the dogs. They all charged at once. I jumped into the freezer and slammed the door shut. Karen jumped up into my cart. She tore open a pack of burger patties and tried throwing them to the service dogs. After a sniff or two, I suppose the patties were not incredible enough, because the dogs rejected Karen's offering and commenced to jump up and pull her down from the cart. Meanwhile, I was crawling along the bottom rack of the freezers until I was well past the dogs. I was at the part with the frozen turkeys when I went to make good my getaway. I couldn't just leave the Karen to her fate, however, so I grabbed up a frozen turkey and bowled it down the aisle with the force of a thunderbolt. The frozen turkey struck the dogs as they were all grouped up in their attack on Karen, and it blew away about half of them. Somehow it made the same sound as a perfect strike at the bowling lane. The remainder of the dogs turned their attention toward me, their fur bristled in rage. While their backs were turned, Karen snatched a couple frozen tomahawk cut steaks from the freezer and began dual-wielding them against the dogs, all the while screaming her war cry of "Do you know who I am?" After that, I just ran from the scene and out of the store. I decided the local vegans would just have to make do with pasta salad this time. A few days later at the barbecue, I was shocked to see the very same Karen from the store perusing the food. I went to greet her and was met with "Why aren't there any vegan options here? I'm going to sue you for not making this inclusive to meat," ally challenged. "I'll update after the court hearing. Let me tell you a story. Buckle up. Because honestly." So we had a crazy over-the-top super Karen of a neighbor at our old house. We lived on the corner. Now in our city, in Canada, where we can get up to 15 feet of snow in a winter. There is a bylaw to not pile it on the corner at all because of vehicles not being able to see. So unfortunately, the only legal place to put the snow was in a small grass space between our houses and a small spot, as long as it wasn't too high on the other side. Here's kind of a breakdown before I continue. Side A is between our houses. We lived in town row houses. I was on end. She was beside us. Side B is the side that legally we could maybe pile up 3 to 4 feet of snow, and it would be okay. But any more than that, we couldn't. Karen didn't like that we piled most of our snow, even were nice sometimes, and did her driveway too, hoping that would help our situation for her to be more understanding. She never fucking complained about us doing her driveway, but still complained about the middle. And oh, did I mention SHE was allowed to put snow there? Karen expected us to go from side A and push it to side B, but didn't want us to take side B and push it to side A. She expected us to walk back to side A and push it back to side B when we would have ended up with fines either wise. We obviously and rightfully ignored her. She called bylaw on us. They came, of course, because they had to. She would call every snowfall. And finally, after the fourth one, the bylaw officer had enough of her sh*** and cited her with a $160 fine, her daughter told me. and then said sure I can pile it on the corner, at her request, but she must sign something saying she's at fault if there was an accident and she would be responsible for all complaints against the corner being too high and any fines that come with it. And that she could shovel the driveway if she was so concerned about the way things were. Man, I should start posting all my stories about this Karen grinning face with sweat. I've known her since I was 8 because I was friends with her daughter. But that's besides the point. Glad I don't have to deal with her anymore. I feel sorry for her new neighbors who are in my old house. When I used to work at Sam's Club, I transferred over to the cafe thinking it would be easier flow over there. Man, was I wrong. I have so many stories. So when we serve our churros, we put the oldest ones closest to us, so when I went up and did that, the oldest churro was at the very front. As soon I sent them in a glass case, a customer orders one, so I figured since they saw me put out the fresh ones, I should grab them the one furthest from us. Out of nowhere, their grandma starts yelling at me, "Excuse me. You just put out fresh ones, we want a fresh ones." So I simply replied, "Okay, but you don't have to yell, you can ask nice." She then responds, still yelling. I wasn't yelling, so I again reply, "Yes you were. You can be nice one more time." She argues she wasn't, while getting louder, so I said, "Okay, but I know you know how to be nice." She scoffs at me, and then I grab the churro closest to me, and I give it to their grandkid. She turns them, still yelling. Was I yelling at her? And they just replied, "You're loud." So to the lady that yelled at me, "I was grabbing you a fresh churro, but your grandma yelling at me and causing a scene caused you to walk away with the only old one in the batch. You're welcome."